peasants, slaves, sheeple, etc. It's the mind of Opex. How you guys doing today? I am lovely as usual. I am in Illinois, and there's a lot of clouds today. What I want to talk about or touch on today is basically how to become free again. In order to become free, it's not as simple or as crazy or as violent as you may perceive. To be free is to rearrange your mind. Everything you've been taught, I'll repeat that, everything you were ever taught is a lie. Everything. Only the higher consciousness are aware of this. And that's the first step. You need to realize what you were taught is all lies. And what the first step that you need to do to reclaim the truth, or to claim the truth, would be to deprogram your mind. The prison of your thoughts is where you are in life. The prison of your mind is where you are in the retrospect of life. And your experience and perception of this experience is confined in those walls. To deprogram your mind, you need to lose everything you were taught. You need to throw it all out the window. Everything. 2 + 2 = 4. The world is round. We breathe oxygen. Lose it all. Lose it all. Start at an infant mind. You need to baptize yourself from those things that you learned. Lose it all. Every little bit of it. Everything you were taught in school, by the priest, to the president, to everything that you were taught. Everything from the media to even your parents. Lose it. Because a lot of times people are just repeaters. They repeat the same false information to you. And even though you love this person or you find this person reputable, lose that thought. Lose that information. Once you successfully deprogram yourself, instantly you'll start downloading new information. The same is so for, let's say, when I programmed my computer. I put together my computer and I programmed it. The second I hooked it up to the internet and all these Windows updates happened, right? I built a computer. It was at infant level. And the second I turned it on, boom, you started getting all the information you need. That initial information is in tune with the oneness, is in tune with everything else. When you start downloading that information free of the false ideologies, principles, laws, the false information out there, once that's eradicated and you're not thinking of it anymore, you're only going to see the truth. And the truth is this: there is no space. There is no space. I'll prove that real quick. What's in between me and you is a lot of shit. It's a lot of molecules, atoms, There's a lot of elements, oxygen, you name it. Everything's in between us. Frequency, vibration, energy. There's other astral planes between us. It's not just space. The same goes with when you go outside the atmosphere. Space, right? Everyone believes we're in outer space and that's all there is. There is no molecules or energy or vibrations or anything. Bull fucking shit. What you were taught is a lie. There is no such thing as space. Light from the sun travels. It cannot travel through nothingness. It has to travel through something, at least for someone to perceive it. And if you don't perceive it, it doesn't exist. Well, you can't see frequencies and vibration and stuff. Yes, you can. You can perceive these things. You have more than your 5 senses. Time does not exist. Time is just a figment of enslaving you. Time. 5 years ago today, I quit smoking cigarettes. Time. This time thing, where we have this thing called, like, let's say light years, which is a distance that we describe in time. The distance between the time it takes for this and this. And that's what interacts into a 3D world. We wouldn't have time, because it doesn't exist, if you did not fabricate time. Same goes with space. These things don't exist. These are fabricated through thought. Thought is the underlying base thing that makes up or even begins anything in the whole universe. Without thought, there's no fabrication of what it is. Through thought, you bring things into existence. You can do anything from through thought and through intention, enslave people through money, to bringing out egregores of deities, to you name it, to being able to farm. Through thought, we can do this. Through thought, we have actions. Through thought, we have coherent understanding of the universe. Through thought. If you have no thought, and you have lower consciousness. With lower consciousness, you have lower vibration. With lower vibration, you aren't alive. Through thought, we can get that loved one we wanted. Always wanted a wife. Through thought, you get it done. If you have no thought at all, you can't get a wife. Through thought, we can do anything. We can create the cell phone I'm talking to you on. Through the lens that you perceive me is through the lens of your perception. Specifically, when you're seeing me right now, a lot of people might be seeing me right now, but you are not seeing me through the eyes of oneness. You're seeing it through individual perception. And the information I'm giving you is brought to you in part by what your amount of consciousness and awareness is. It is well known that if you have a small golf ball size fucking consciousness, you're only going to get a golf ball size understanding of what I'm telling you right now. If you have a watermelon-sized consciousness, you'll have a much more broader understanding of what I am talking about. If you are still programmed into the matrix and you haven't deprogrammed your mind or separated yourself from the evils of falsehood, you're going to only understand this into your three-dimensional thought, your three-dimensional perception. But until you realize and increase your awareness on what I am talking about, you're only going to understand and get the knowledge out of it that you currently already have. You cannot achieve higher knowledge without higher awareness. You cannot. You can get all the knowledge all day. You can say 2 + 2 = 4, but if you don't understand the fabrication of 2 + 2 = 4, you don't understand 2 + 2 = 4. You don't understand how this came into being. You don't understand the higher levels of understanding behind it. That's why they always say, it's not what you know, it's who you know, but the truth is, it's not what you know, it's how much of it that you actually know. You can say, I was going to say whoever won the Super Bowl last year, but I actually don't know. Let me think real quick. I haven't watched sports in a while. I was going to give a good analogy. Who was it? The Jets won the first Super Bowl? I'm going to go with that because I'm going to guess that's how it happened. The Jets won the first Super Bowl. You might have that knowledge, but do you know everything that went up to that knowledge? Do you know all the awareness behind that? Do you know what plays they made, what practice that they had beforehand? Do you know everything that happened in that game? Do you know what the coaching calls were? Do you know what the ref calls were? Do you know everything that happened in that game, or do you just remember the Jets won the Super Bowl? That's an easy three-dimensional, lower conscious way to explain it to you. Now, if you deprogrammed your mind and you're in the constant curiosity stage of knowledge and you're trying to explore life, good for you. You're at the point where you've reached back into your original being. That's what we are. Do you believe that we have all these senses just to go to work and die? Go to work, pay bills, get married, have a couple children, get them vaccinated, dumb them down, and have them serve the overlords of the elite who use occult knowledge and increase their awareness and understand how easy it is to enslave the sheeple when you bring out principles like numbers, alphabet, symbolism, sigils, and suggestion, subliminal generally. When they bring out this paradigm in Matrix and have your kids go to school at such a young age just to repeat mindless babble that, what did I say in the beginning of the video, are all lies. Your kid's being indoctrinated into the three-dimensional world. When information hits you, whether it's right here and now in the physical, or if it's something I'm saying through the internet, or if it's something that you're experiencing some way or another, the information that's given to you, let's say 100,000 things hit your brain, but because of belief and because of how you are wired through your programming, through your childhood, and you know, all that 200,000, let's say, things hit you, only about 1,000 things remain because you've reflected a whole billion series of reality and understanding it because you have decided to have this belief structure, and yes, you have decided to agree with them. You have conformed to believe them. These things are ricocheted off. So if I say something about oneness to you, you might have a belief structure to it, and you reflect your higher antenna to the source, or ether, or you name it. I don't want to sound occultist or whatever. But when you are downloading information, but you're only getting, out of 10,000 downloads, you're only getting 1 or 2 downloads, there's a problem. I mean, you ever get a download on your computer and it said failed, tap to try again or something like that, and you try again. But most people, they don't try again. They don't want to download the information. They have a belief structure for them where they have their enslavement to money, which is the main focus of their time and their meditation and their thoughts. So their thoughts are on making money, which are not improving themselves, which are not exploring themselves. They're not exploring others. They are not founding. They have not found themselves. So the main point that I was trying to get at was that once you deprogram from the matrix, deprogram from what they have delivered to you to be some sort of truth or knowledge or understanding, that when they were lying to you and you deprogrammed yourself and you learned things through yourself, not through others, not through the system, not through schooling, not through education, which is the worst thing on this planet. When you realize that your thoughts manifest into reality, like I said before, from anything from, you name it, you can manifest beings into existence, physical things into existence. You can manifest anything into existence through intent and thought. You have programmed your perception in such a way that only you perceive it that way. But when there's a universal collectivism of education, media, and this conglomerate of information, when you have that in you, and we have a collective understanding of it, this becomes our reality. But when you identify your own reality, and you learn to manipulate it, and see it for what it is, it's going to be different than other people. Because most people have the same information because they get the same information. But when you see things and you perceive it through not just the 5 senses, but through the 6, there's lots of senses, but I like to put all of it into the 6th category so I don't confuse you guys. But when you use your 6th sense and you get an understanding of the ethereal world or the astral plane or whatever, and you start seeing things how they are instead of how you perceive them to be, then you start to have a greater understanding of everything. Now, an understanding is this. Thought is derived from 2 things. From yourself and through the perception of outside self. When you add those 2 together, you're going to lose a lot of information. Some people gain a lot of information. I tend to be one of those people. I don't just use outside and I don't just use inside, but when I combine these 2, you get a bigger information field, or you can lose a lot of information because one competes with the other evidence. When you see light from the sun coming down to the earth, I'm going to tell you right now, you see this light because it's going through things, it's hitting things, like oxygen, like it's hitting things, it's hitting vibration, it's hitting things along its path through the atmosphere. That's the reason you see light, and that's why light brightens everything. on our planet. It's because of the atmosphere. When you observe the sun from outer space, it does not seem to exist. This is known as the black sun. The reason why you don't see it in outer space is because there's no outer atmosphere that can bring the light in. Light has to be hitting something. I made a mistake by saying through vibration or frequency, because there's vibration and frequency in electricity, and you don't see that unless it goes through something that you can see. Electricity, lightning, you can see it because it goes through the atmosphere. There has to be something that it hits. If it's not hitting something that you can see in an atomic way through vibration, then it doesn't seem to exist. I hope I'm hitting hard a little bit for some people. I have no idea why I started this thought to throw on YouTube. I just basically turned on the camera. I was like, you know what? I feel like talking. And that's my biggest problem, because I don't sit down and write down what I want to talk about, what I want to hit up, what information I want to give you, and predetermine these videos. I just freaking go. 1 second. But this is designed to free yourself. I'm introducing to you perhaps new information. This new information is my perception. My perception could help you wake up, but you should not necessarily take my information as fact or fiction. You should not. You should not take a Harvard study or a Yale University study and say this is fact because they had a perception. The truth is, you underline your experience. If you watch my video, The Power of Intention, you'll understand a little bit of where I'm coming from, of your conscious intent to shape the world around you. For example, if you wanted something to happen from an experiment and you intently believed it would happen, it will happen the way you perceived it. Your intention has a lot of power in vibration, and it's your thought that changes this. If you're having an experiment, like you can watch all on YouTube, they have an experiment with rice. They cook rice, they put it in 2-3 different containers, and they write a thought, a spell. They cast a spell on it, where on one container of cooked rice, they'll seal it off and say good things, very positive, really happy, joyful words. And they cast a spell on it and get a good feeling on it. They'll write beauty, they'll write just all different types of beautiful, good words on that rice jar. They go to the second jar or container and they write nothing. Then they'll go to the third container and they'll write negative, evil things. Just, like they'll write the word murder on it, or something evil, or slaughter, or some words on that container or jar. And what they do is they keep these jars right next to each other, the same atmosphere, cooked from the same rice. And because the intention and the words and the power of thought, they manipulated the rice, that after 3 or 4 weeks, the ones with good vibes had no mold on it, or very, very, very little. The ones with no words on it would just start to be moldy and stuff like that. You'll start seeing it visibly. But the third jar or container would have rice from the evil spells that were just completely moldy. You could never even tell it was rice before. And there's been multiple times this type of experiment is proven. This experiment is proven over and over and over again without flaw. That should give you an understanding of your thoughts that manipulate the world around you. I play a video game called Warcraft 3. I play a random race. There's 4 races that you can choose for at the start of the game. If I go random, it's going to choose one of 4 races. If I think to myself as the game is loading and I don't know what race I'm going to be, and I choose random. If I think I'm going to pick the human race, it's going to happen 9 times out of 10. Because I have chosen that race in my mind. And the computer has to follow my perception to achieve the experience that I already perceive it's going to be. Weird, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because you have a lot of power. And everything is based on thoughts. Everything in reality, the trees have its own consciousness based on thought. I don't want to actually go on any side tangents, but everything has thoughts. Everything is because of thought. It is not by situations. It's not by, this happened. Things make it happen, and it's 100% due to thought. As much as you can perceive in life, like I said before, if you have a golf ball size awareness, you're only going to get a golf ball size understanding. If you have something bigger, like a beach ball size consciousness and awareness, you're going to have a much broader understanding. And when you increase it, it's endless. It just keeps increasing. And basically, when you start realizing that everything is due to thought, your limits are due to thought. It's not due to a true limit. It's your limit that you set for yourself. If you believe, I'm never going to make it into the NBA, you're not. You set that limit for yourself through your thoughts. But if you believed, if you were LeBron James and you were not the best basketball player at 8 years old, but when you turned 14, you were like, I really want to be the best basketball player ever, and you made a strive for it, and you believe you could do it. By the time you were 18, you were drafted into the NBA, and it's because you believed it could happen, and you set forth those goals to make it happen through your thoughts. That's what it is. That's why a lot of people, like, if I'm a guy who have an attraction toward a female, and I said, you're very beautiful, I'm giving something to her where she might have not thought that before. She might say, oh my God, this guy thinks I'm attractive. He likes me. And she's going to manifest that thought, and it should stay with her until she has separate reverse thoughts on it. And it's a good thing. I don't go around saying to every girl she's beautiful, but when I do, it's because I genuinely feel that way. Like, I'm attracted to you. It could be your inner beauty, it could be your outer beauty, and I'll make it known what it is that I like about you. And I manifested that into reality, and she has to respond with that manifest thought that I created. You are creators. You create and manipulate not only the three-dimensional world around you, but everything. So, in terms of trying to become free, you cannot set limits because everything is possible. And the only way you can believe that things are possible is to deprogram your mind and to increase your consciousness, increase your awareness, increase the weight of understanding. And until that happens, you're going to probably stick with your three-dimensional ideologies of freedom. Just because you're not wearing shackles and chains don't make you free. You can still be a slave in your cubicle or into your, what I used to call when I worked at Home Depot, my prison, my 9-to-5 prison. I get to go home, but I have to be at the prison today. I hope that does something for you. I can touch base on this all day, but I hope you get something out of this. This is how to free yourself and emancipate yourself from the Matrix. Thanks for watching. I definitely want you to pursue happiness, your longevity of your life, and your overall just experience. Have a great day. Bye.